All right, so here we are with day 2 of Empower Your Leadership with Queer Integrity. I hope you enjoyed the introductory exercise to take a snapshot of where you are at. Hopefully this won't be too long of a video, but I want to give you a brief overview of my FEEL principle, well-being, and then go into an explanation of today's exercise, what's going to be asked of you. So FEEL, F-E-E-L, is an acronym for freedom, energy, enthusiasm, and love. And how you feel, your overall well-being, is the foundation, the priority of your leadership. I mean, I repeatedly say, if you don't feel well, you can't lead well. Well, if you don't feel well, you're not going to be fun to be around. You're, in all areas of your life if you don't feel well. And that's not to diminish someone who perhaps has health issues or what have you. There is an aspect of how we think and how we perceive how we feel. And there is how we manage the ways in which we feel so that we can make choices about how we are going to show up in the world to the best of our ability with the skills and the knowledge that we have. But how do we center this in leadership? F from feel, meaning freedom, that you are able to create inner and outer environments that support emotional ease and personal sovereignty so that you're not reacting to life, but responding with intention. Think about that, right? If you don't feel free, that's going to have a big effect on your well-being and your mental state. And E for energy and enthusiasm, the first one, your energy. You fuel your body and your mind with practices, with nourishment that supports your vitality, your stamina, and your ability to be clear-headed. And these are essentials for how you can show up fully, most powerfully, most authentically, most influentially every single day. The second E is enthusiasm. And yes, this is connected to energy, but this is how you think about things. And this is connected to your inspiration and motivation. This is how you anchor into the desired emotional states that you most want to experience that uplift and move you forward. Emotions require movement so that you can put them into action. Think that enthusiasm is not a bonus. It is instead an advantage to your leadership that is rooted in your emotional self-mastery, in how you understand the emotional states that you most wish to exhibit and lead from. Finally, love, the last letter in feel. If you can lead from a place of care for yourself, for your mission, and for others, love will help you keep your vision human, your actions ethical, and your leadership resilient. And if love feels like too much of a funny word, I like human-heartedness, meaning you're really thinking that how you feel and care about yourself is an extension of how you feel for the world and everything in it, right? So if you don't feel well, you can't lead well, and you won't have the capacity to care enough to make a difference, because your well-being is not an option. It is the ground that everything stands on and supports you. So to put the feel principle into practice, what I'm asking you to do today is to discover how to cultivate your self-mastery through a principle I call CARE, C-A-R-E. And that, again, is an acronym. We're going to get into that in just a moment. But as a queer leader, your emotional well-being is foundational to your leadership. You can't care for others if you don't first care for yourself, or if you don't first care about yourself. Think about that. People talk about being completely selfless, but who are you if you're not caring for yourself? And how are you going to feel if you haven't given yourself the emotional attention, the care for your well-being? You're not going to be able to give yourself that energy and enthusiasm to care for others. Simply put, you cannot make a meaningful, influential, or transformational difference in the world if you're ignoring your physical, your emotional health, and your mental state, your mental health, your overall well-being. So the FEEL principle emphasizes the importance of your self-awareness around your self-care. And this is where we come into my CARE framework. And that stands for caring or care, attention, recognition, and enthusiasm. So what I'm asking you to do for this exercise, for today's homework, is to reflect on each aspect of the CARE framework and answer the questions as honestly and truthfully as you can. If you're stuck, just get pen to paper. Answer the question to the best of your ability, however you think the answer is most correct, most truthful in this moment. I want you to document your responses because, as I said in the introductory video, when we get to the very end, we're going to pull everything together. So let's start with the first aspect of care, which is the letter C, caring. And that's how you tend to your physical, mental, and emotional health. 3 questions. How do you prioritize your physical health, nutrition, and rest? Where do they show up in your day, in your week, in your month? Do you often compromise on one of those things? And if you do, how do you feel? Second question. What practices do you have in place for your mental and emotional well-being? Is that yoga? Is that meditation? Is that listening to soothing music? Is that having regularly scheduled times to be with your partner, your family, your friends, your pets? And the third question, what small change can you implement today that will enhance your self-care routine? Think of this, if you're seeing a gap, if you get a sense that something is missing from having answered the first 2 questions, what small change, simple, easy, definitive, you know you can do it, that you can start today, that's going to make a difference in your self-care routine? So let's move on to the letter A for attention, which is being consciously aware of your thoughts, your emotions, and your level of energy. So first question, ask yourself what thoughts or emotions frequently occupy your mind. Are you thinking happy thoughts? Are you thinking with excitement about something that you're going to do? Or are you feeling frustrated, angry, contentious? What thoughts or emotions frequently occupy your mind? Do they lean towards the more desirable or the less desirable thoughts or emotions? Second question is, how do these internal states influence your behavior and your interactions? So if you're not feeling well, if you're not thinking well or clearly or logically, how does that influence your behavior and interactions? Do the same thing for your emotions. And finally, what strategies can you put into place that will help you maintain your focus and your emotional balance? Your focus is going to come from having a clear mind, a clear path for thinking reasonably, right? If your emotional state is dragging you down, if you're really lost in thought about something, that's going to take away from your ability to focus on the task at hand or the person in front of you when you show up as a leader. Recognition, the letter R, which is acknowledging your worth by also seeing the humanity in others. We are all connected. We are all energy in this universe, on this planet. That's demonstrated in science. Our cells are constantly regenerating. We are becoming an entirely new set of cells. I don't know how long it is, but it's, I think, several times a year. We are all connected. So how do you perceive your own value and contributions in this world, or if this world seems too broad, in your immediate sphere of friends, family, workplace? How do you perceive your own value and contributions? Because what we perceive as our own value or our own worth should not be at the judgment or the judgment of others, but evaluated in a sense of what you hold dear and important and meaningful that leads to you reaching out and making a difference through your contributions. Second question, in what ways do you recognize and appreciate the strengths of others? So you see someone else who you admire, whether they are your boss, whether they're a leader, whether they're the barista at your favorite coffee shop. In what way do you recognize and appreciate the strengths of others? And finally, how does recognizing shared humanity impact your leadership approach? Do you see aspects of humanity that you incorporate into your personal qualities and characteristics for how you find your own path for leading others? So the last letter in the CARE acronym is enthusiasm, which is connecting your energy and emotions to your environment and actions. So what activities, what environments energize you? Is there a particular kind of music? When you see your pet, when you see your partner smile when they greet you, is it jogging? What is it? What activities and what spaces, what environments give you energy? How do you maintain motivation during challenging times? We're all facing challenging times, regardless of what's happening with politics. There's always going to be a challenge. It could be financial, it could be with your relationships, it could be with your health. And then finally, what steps can you take to cultivate enthusiasm in your daily life? I'll give you a bit of a hint here. The first question, activities and environments that energize you. Look back on your answers to that and then consider again, what steps can you take to cultivate enthusiasm in your daily life? Now, once you have answered all of these questions, I want you to go back and review them. And then this is what I call a question from the margins to bring in our queer, our LGBT plus identity. What part of your queerness do you want to honor as something that nourishes your well-being, shapes how you feel, and reminds you of your truth? And how does that shape how you lead? How does your queerness in this sense shape how you lead? There's a good amount to do there. So get to it. If you're not sure, ask me immediately. I'll try and help you as the best I can. Put your responses in the comments. Again, if you don't feel like sharing everything, put something in the comments or send me a DM with what you've discovered. And we'll see you for the next practice on day 3.